Tuesday morning. It is January the 9th. I'm West 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together and chat about what's going on in the world of weather. And today is a first warning weather day. There's some nasty stuff heading our direction. We're going to be looking at sounding data. We're going to be looking. But first, let me take you outside and just kind of see what's doing. This is a look at our tower cam network. We're looking over New Smyrna Beach. It is cloudy. It is breezy, and at least at the moment, we are nice and dry. Let's get a look at our first warning Doppler radar. Thankfully, not seeing anything in the area really. Had some earlier showers. Those showers have kind of cleared on out of here, so not a big deal. Temperatures out the door. Warm. Dare I say muggy for January, right? Yeah, it's definitely a warm start to the day for us. It's going to be a day where severe weather is kind of set up atmospherically. And another way that you can clearly tell is by looking at these winds. Take a look at the live wind data across Central Florida. It's out of the south-southeast at 15, 20, even 25 miles an hour. So there you go. It's going to be a day that, the atmosphere wants to throw some stronger storms our direction. It's already happening up in the Panhandle. As a matter of fact, I've been watching coverage from television stations in Panama City, and just look at the wide shot right now, okay? Cold front moving through, discrete supercells firing up out ahead of it. So let me come back to our live radar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn our live radar off, and I'm going to turn on the wider perspective. Give it a second. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so obviously we are tracking tornado warning cells up that direction. Let me pop that up. All right, so there we go. So there's kind of a look at the different cells. So tornado warning in effect up here, kind of crossing into Georgia, and then right around Miramar Beach, Defuniak Springs, tornado warn cells there, kind of all over Central Florida. We're going to be watching this. But for now, the Panhandle is seeing it. Look at that line of storms moving through. Let me switch over to a higher resolution radar product here. And there you go. Kind of see those storms working off toward the east, right? Yeah. Powerful tornadoes have already been touching down in this area. Let me see here. Storm report. Got to find the button. All right. So this is a look at storm reports. And let me just do this. Let me turn off all the wind reports, okay? We're just going to look at tornado reports. All right. These are all reports of tornadoes. Panama City Beach up near Defuniak Springs, even Mariana kind of crossing I-10 there. So this is the storm system that is moving our direction over the course of the day today. There is a tornado watch posted for that part of the state. That goes until 2 o'clock. And then I would expect in that early afternoon time frame, a new tornado watch to be posted in our area. When we look at all of the severe weather parameters across our area, we've got them. And as a matter of fact, I was just checking, and I'm glad that I checked, because XMR, the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, put up a special weather balloon. They usually put it up at 12Z. They put one up at 11Z, and lucky for us, we're going to be able to look at that data. So for those of you that have watched Coffee Talk for a while, this is going to be somewhat of a normal thing for us. But let's take a closer inspection for those of you that may be new to this whole thing. All right, this is a sounding. It's a weather balloon. This is not model data. This is actual weather balloon data, okay, that went up. All right, so let's just kind of take it. Okay, first off, top left corner, XMR 240109, 11 observed. So that's this morning, and 11Z. So it's 13Z right now. So that went up about 2 hours ago. And at last check, the balloon had made it up to 12 kilometers or 200 millibars. But down here, let's just kind of enlarge this and we're going to look together. And now, first thing I want you to notice is the red line and the green line. The red line is your air temperature. The green line is your dew point temperature, okay? This is super in the weeds stuff, but it's important on severe weather days. We've talked also over the last few weeks about how to read this, and one of the kind of indicators is obviously if there's a gap in the red and the green, that lets you know that there's a dry slot, whereas if the red and the green are close together, you've got a soupy air mass. So right at the surface, they were not saturated. They were saturated just above, which makes sense. We see all the clouds over top of us, right? Then you get that like goalpost. The goalpost is the indicator, and you know, when it comes to severe weather, when you see that goalpost, that's usually a good indicator for severe weather, right? This is using the same product that we looked at with models, but instead of using model data, it's now using actual data, okay? So you've got the goalpost. That's the first indicator that, you know, we're not necessarily going to be terribly happy about it. Second thing I want us to look at is wind speed with height. So you see these barbs, very center of your screen. Very bottom one, right above where it says MN wind, look up. That's a southeast wind at about 10 or so knots, all right? Then as soon as you get up just a little bit, you see all those additional ticks? That's a 45 knot wind. Boom, you're talking, I mean, it's already gusty. Some of that is making it down to the surface, but you're talking about a pretty big influx of wind. Look above that just a little bit. You see how it goes from these lines to like a triangle? That's 50 knot winds. And then 40 knot winds, and then 50 knot winds. But also look as it goes up through height, it starts to turn. At the bottom, it's a southeasterly wind, then a southerly wind, then a southwesterly wind, and then up through the column of air, it turns more westerly, right? And certainly it picks up the wind speeds. But the reason that this stands out is also you're not only talking about a real good hit of wind just above our heads, you're also talking about turning of winds, okay? Another indicator of severe weather, right? The hodograph, all right, showing that shearing of winds, okay? So that's that. Let me just kind of clear this up here and kind of come around. So not really looking at a hail product, but again, you know, when we look at the effective layer, STP shear there, you're looking at 50 percentile for EF zeros, 40 percentile for EF ones, about a 25 percentile for EF twos, and this is still about 12 hours ahead of this severe threat moving in, okay? Supercell composite, 5.5, and anytime you're above about a 5, that's when you talk about true severe dynamics. So when we look at the skew T sounding, which is what you're looking at there, this is very much a severe weather kind of scenario for us. The balloon, the actual weather balloon that they lifted up, and put into the atmosphere is clearly indicating that. So, that said, it should be no surprise that Central Florida is under a level 3 out of 5 risk for strong to severe storms in our northern spots, and a level 2 out of 5 risk for scattered strong to severe storms across the metro area, with damaging winds absolutely the bigger concern. Straight line winds are going to really be a player for us, right? But in addition to that, we're also looking at the concern for not just tornadoes, but strong tornadoes. And we already saw that play out in the Panama City area, unfortunately. So the dynamics are absolutely there. And when we break this down kind of threat by threat by threat, similar to yesterday, damaging winds, the greatest concern. Those lines, by the way, that you see near Ocala in our northern spots, those vertical lines, that's a hatched area. And basically what that is that's the Storm Prediction Center's way of saying, not only are we looking at the threat for damaging winds, but we could be talking about, 60, 70 mile per hour gusts. Tornadoes are a thing. Hail, not necessarily as big of a concern. These products are all going to get updated at about 8:45, 9 a.m. That's just kind of the way that they do that, okay? So when we look at the winds coming in a little bit later, this is the 850 wind gust product, okay? Oh, it's going backward. Hold on a second. Let me get this tweaked around for us. Today, tomorrow. Okay. All right. So this is the 850 wind gust energy product. And, you know, without getting into much specificity, you can just clearly see there's a lot of wind energy just above our heads. So as this line of storms marches through our area, it's going to have that wind energy. That's all I'm trying to illustrate there. So let's just do this. Let's go right to our futurecast model and get an idea on timing for today, okay? This morning, cloudy skies, you know, no big problem, right? That much we know. All right, we'll bring it full for you. 10, 11 o'clock, we're still good. Though notice 10, 11 o'clock, we're starting to see some breaks in the clouds. That's, you know, really and truly, that's not what we want to see, because breaks in the clouds allow further destabilization. Look at lunchtime, more breaks in the clouds, further destabilization, right? 12:31, 1:32. Now we're getting that line of storms ahead of us. Couple of things I'm noticing. First off, I'm not seeing, at least on our futurecast model, I'm not seeing this idea of discrete supercells firing out ahead of it. Those would be the ones that absolutely have greatest concern. So at least to that parameter, I'm feeling a little bit better, okay? Now, that said, this line's going to have a lot of wind energy. If we fire up any storms out ahead of that main line, those are going to be the ones with strong tornado concerns. The main line itself is more of a strong straight line wind kind of a thing, okay? All right, let's continue futurecast. There's 3 o'clock, northwestern areas, strong storms moving through, okay? 4 o'clock, getting into the metro, torrential downpours, frequent lightning, gusty winds, that sort of thing. 5, 5:30, 6, getting over to Brevard County, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, continuing to move to the east and clearing out. And certainly clearing out is a better idea, okay? So here's a look at our timeline right now, okay? All right. 2 to 5 in our northern areas, 4 to 7 through the metro, 6 to 10 across Brevard County, and I would even say 6 to 8 would be pretty good. Okay, Gabby says, I'm just grateful this isn't an overnight event. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. But the problem is we could be talking about some daytime heating, amping this up just a little bit. Okay, so don't like that. One thing that we don't use very often, but in a situation like this, it's not too bad, is this is the significant tornado parameter part of Futurecast, okay? And basically, you know, what you're looking for me, I'm looking at trends. And right off the bat, you know, seeing an STP of 4, as widespread as this is, basically it's saying not only is there rotation, but significant rotation, okay? I mean, an STP of 4 over that widespread of an area, and I mean, we don't see STP levels this high very often, you know? I mean, this is impressive. It's still showing an STP of 4 right through the metro area, still showing that STP of 4 over to our Brevard County areas, and even into southern Brevard County. So to me, my big takeaway, at least looking at this brand new data this morning, is the idea that not only is this line of storms going to come through rough, but there's also dynamics there for significant, not just a tornado, a significant tornado, winds of like 100 miles per hour or greater. We've already seen that in the Panhandle, and that's certainly not great. You know, this is, and I will also add that the significant tornado parameter here is greater than it was when I was looking at this last night with Tony Manalfi. He and I were looking at this together, and it's definitely gone up higher. So that's where we're at, my friends. Today's a first warning weather day because of this threat for strong to severe storms. We were just, you know, I was showing the sounding earlier, and if you're new to Coffee Talk, this is going to be complete completely new for you, but the sounding is the weather balloon data. And the folks at the National Weather Service office in Melbourne Storm Prediction Center, somebody asked XMR, the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, to fire up a special weather balloon. Saturated air mass at the surface and then a dry air upstairs, turning winds with height, big wind streak over our heads. I mean, it's gusty. That's severe weather. Okay. And, you know, a lot of people have asked this question. I think that it's a good question to ask, too. A lot of people have asked this question. Why is this different than an afternoon thunderstorm? And I'm the first one, and if you've watched me for a while, you know, I'm the first one that's going to tell you, like, we get severe weather almost every afternoon during the summertime. So we don't have to worry, right? But in a situation like this, there are some key differences, okay? First off, you see that dry air upstairs? That's different than in a winter scenario. The turning with height, big difference from a wintertime scenario. So compared to summer, we've got the moisture, we've got the lift, but it's that atmospheric energy, that wind shear. Those are the ingredients that are at least much more concerning to me. And that's why in a situation like this, we really do need to heed warning, okay? So because Central Florida is under, at least for parts of our area, we're under a level 3 out of 5 risk. Tony and I were working yesterday, and the discussion was, when was the last time we were under level 3 out of 5 risks? All right. For hail, it was April of last year, that big Brevard County hail event. Okay. For tornadoes, it was back in Hurricane Ian, back in 2022. And before that, it was 2021 for a widespread wind event. And there was a lot of damage in that. So you get like one of these a year. Now, being that we're in an El Nino year, we could probably be talking about several of these in a year, right? But that's where we're at right now. It's definitely not our ideal situation. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Christine says the hail event was crazy. Yeah, you don't get a level 3 risk for strong to severe storms if there's nothing going on. But atmospherically, there's definitely something going on, right? Shannon, in case you didn't see my comment earlier, the timing of the storms graphic says tomorrow. Of course it does, because it didn't get updated. Thank you for that. Okay. I'll fix it. But we know, you know, we know we're going over this together. But yeah, El Nino is absolutely playing into things. It's making it stormier. It's making it stronger. Those sorts of things. Okay. Josue, could we see a level 5 before it's set and done for Central Florida? For today, I wouldn't think we're going to see a level 5 risk. We have had a level 5 risk once, and that was a complete bust. Nothing happened. So I always like to say to all of my friends that are paying attention to the weather, I always like to say Florida's going to Florida, and you know, we are under a level 3 out of 5 risk for our northern spots, a level 2 out of 5 risk for our southern spots. The 1998 tornado outbreak was a level 2 risk. The 2007 Groundhog Day tornado event was a level 2 risk. So yeah, Katie's asking, when you say level 3, what does that mean? Sure. So it's an oversimplification, or an attempt at an oversimplification, for the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather risks. Okay. The Storm Prediction Center folks in Norman, Oklahoma are tasked with putting this product that you see on your screen out, giving you and giving people heads up on severe weather. They're also tasked with issuing tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches, blizzard, discussions, things like that. So there's your tornado watch that they've issued for now. But in terms of outlooks and things like that, right? There's our outlook for today. So we talk about the levels. Level 1, isolated in nature. It's in green, and that's for South Florida, meaning out of all the severe storms that are coming in, you'll get or out of all the storms coming in, you would see an isolate, one or two little pockets of strong to severe storms, okay? All right, level 2, that's the Orlando Metro. That's from about Daytona Beach to Tampa South. Level 2, meaning scattered. Like in the line of storms, we're going to have several strong to severe storms embedded in there. Level 3, numerous, meaning of the storms coming in, many of them are going to be strong to severe. Level 4, widespread, meaning it's going to be nasty. And frankly, level 5, you rarely see a level 5 risk set. When that happens, it's usually a very rough day. At least in our case, though, in Central Florida, the one high risk we had did not pan out. It was nasty, but thankfully there was nothing destructive that had happened. All right. Kenneth Otto, I see you in the room. Good morning, my friend. Please define your parameters for us. What sections are you calling central? You see that map there? That's Central Florida. That's my coverage area. I work at West 2 in Orlando. So the Orlando, Ocala, Palm Coast, Melbourne, that area. That's Central Florida. Roxanne is asking, could this lose some punch before it gets to the Orlando Metro? Could it? Sure. Do I think that will happen? No. And the reason that I say that is because atmospherically, we've got all the ingredients necessary for it. So I don't think that it's going to lose its luster. I think that it's going to sustain. The one thing that I'll be interested in, if I'm 100% honest with you, the one thing that I am going to be interested in is I don't know if I have it loaded in here. I don't, because that's visible. Do we have enough sun? We may have enough sun. We don't really. All right, let me switch this over from the visible satellite to the infrared. So the one thing that I'm interested in most is going to be the sunshine factor. All right. So, do we get any sunshine today? This is the last 4 hours. Lots of clouds over top of us, right? But if we get any sun shining, that further destabilizes the atmosphere. Vanessa's asking if anyone else's anxiety is through the roof on this. Don't let it be anxiety-ridden. Just stay weather aware. That's why I'm here chatting with you, because I don't want you freaking out. I don't want your anxiety up. We're just talking. We're getting into the data on this, and I want to make sure everybody knows what we're dealing with in a no hype manner, okay? How long will we be in an El Nino cycle? Through spring. It looks like into summer we should probably transition out and back to a neutral scenario, which would really be interesting come hurricane season. But yeah, for now with El Nino, we've got all the ingredients for severe weather. If we get the sunshine, to me that will be the straw that'll break the camel's back and get things going. So for you today, look outside. If it stays cloudy, that will help to subdue things a little bit. If it gets sunny at all and brings those temperatures up, then it's on. Yeah. Kevin says, just stepped outside. You can feel the whole mess brewing. It's soupy outside. It is. It absolutely is. Priscilla, January through March tornado season, we go from hurricane to tornado season, especially with El Nino. Yeah, with an El Nino year, you get that extra energy upstairs, and that's why the concern for tornadoes, particularly stronger tornadoes, grows, right? And, I look at this kind of a thing during severe weather events, but particularly, in an El Nino year, it becomes very important. We've got a lot of wind energy and a lot of directional shear. Yeah. Mickey says, I have a feeling the enhanced risk will be expanded a bit south. We shall see in a few minutes. I would agree. I would think that would be shifted. So one thing that we can do, give me a few seconds. Yes, let me log in because you got to be a pain in the neck. All right. So one thing we can do, so looking at a couple of the different models, let's look at the HER model. And let's go to states. We'll go to Florida. And we'll go to severe weather. And we'll go to updraft helicity tracks. All right, so what this is looking at is kind of your updraft helicity. It would be stronger storms, rotating storms, things like that. So Panhandle, you can see a tight grouping, but you also see a pretty decent grouping right over Central Florida, particularly like Metro South. Looking at this for me, I would suspect that we drop that enhanced risk a little further south. You know, just looking at that, I mean, the intensity may be down a little bit further south, but you still have decent tracks. You know, surface cape. You know, yeah, supercell composite. Yeah. I mean, I would definitely, I think, add the enhanced area around the metro. There's another look at the significant tornado parameter, but this is using the HER model instead of our future cast. But you see how it almost pulses it up, clearing the metro a bit, right? Yeah, bulk shear. I mean, there's a ton of shear. There's a ton of shear coming in here. But yeah, those updraft helicity tracks, to me, that speaks to me, right? I just looked outside. It's very cloudy, but the sun is shining. Is it? I'm completely clouded at my house, but don't love the idea of the sun shining. So, all right, so let's do this. Soundings. Let's do the HER model. KMCO. All right. And what is this? This is 21Z. So yeah, I mean, you know, without getting too much into the nerddom here, which it's impossible because that's basically all we do. But you know, there's this afternoon. Jet streak just over our heads, still getting your goalpost. So yeah, that's the HER model kind of flying out the model data. So yeah. I mean, I think that we'll have a pretty good opportunity to get some stronger stuff today. I do. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. All right, I'm done. I'm done looking at all of the super nerdy stuff. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends. Why does this say tomorrow afternoon? Let me refresh this. Did he not change it? All right. I'm going to change it. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Katie's asking about power outages. Is this mostly wind or rain or both? Oh, it's absolutely going to be wind and rain. So I would suspect that, yes, there is going to be the concern for power outages. I know I'm a Duke Energy customer, and they've already sent me a note talking about that. All right. I have a big event on Friday. Do you think for sure it's going to be raining Friday evening? I mean, there are storms in the forecast. We haven't even looked that deep. And frankly, I'm not going to go looking deep today just because we've got the threat of severe weather. All right. But yeah, Friday, we definitely do have some showers and thunder showers in the forecast. Where can we find the observed sounding data? The easiest way is Google SPC soundings, SKU-T, and you should be able to get the data. And what's nice is it breaks it down like hour by hour too. So it'll give you like the special advice, like there was a 7Z sounding in Louisiana. There was the special 11Z sounding at XMR. So it's nice to be able to see there was a 6Z sounding up in the Panhandle ahead of the tornadoes. And so it's nice to be able to see, you know, the special data, that sort of thing. Yeah. Let's see here. Jennifer's asking if we have a big hail threat. We do not have a big hail threat. Mike, I can see it, bud. Yep. Yes, there will be lightning. Yes, there will be lightning. Let's see here. I know we have to get through today, but how does this latest pattern affect your hurricane forecast? I mean, it's there. The storm system's absolutely a part of it. Yeah. Let's see here. Based on what you see, Tom's asking, doesn't look like it would speed up and get to our area earlier than expected. With all of the wind, that's definitely a possibility, Tom. That's definitely a possibility. So, we have to just kind of see how this evolves and moves on through. Yeah. Don says, looks like middle school dismissal at 4 p.m. may be an issue. I would say this. If it looks like that's going to be the case, I wouldn't want my kids walking in this. So I would have them hang out in the building, that sort of thing. And I'm sure that educators and administrators will take care of that. Yeah. All right. Mickey's asking about derecho. I mean, could have a derecho type event fire up. Yeah, we'll have to see. It doesn't happen very often, but we'll have to see. There's a lot of wind energy in this. There's a lot of wind energy. So, frankly, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, right? Should we bring things inside? I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not doing that. I like light things like my pillows that are on my rocking chairs out front. I'm bringing inside, but that's about it. You know. All right. All right. Future cast for timing again. Yes, I can dial that up, and I think I've got a version with wind gusts. Hold on. I think this is it. All right. So right off the bat, Futurecast showing a lot of wind energy already, right? So we've got that already in the bag. Okay. Now through time. 11 o'clock, right? 11, 12 o'clock. See how it's gusty as heck? This is without any storms. Any storms. And it's already that gusty. Right? Like let that be a thing. Okay. 12:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, okay? 4 o'clock. It's already 30, 40, and then with higher gusts, obviously, in these storms. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Now, if you're saying like those winds didn't go up that high, the problem is that it's really difficult to like get in a model grid point convective forcing like this. So you're not going to end up getting like a pop of 70 or something like that, pop of 60, something like that. But the idea is without the storms around, my takeaway is out ahead of the storms, you're already looking at 40-mile-per-hour gusts. Okay? So that's where we're at. Chris says no wind here. It's breezy if nothing else. Here's a live look at the winds. All right. What would sustained winds be for Volusia? Buses can't run over 35 sustained, and they have yet to call early release for middle schoolers. I would say sustained's probably going to be 20 to 30 with higher gusts. Looks like another tornado is in progress in the Panhandle. I don't know if I have live radar. Let's see. So obviously there's a big lightning deal there, but I don't know. Let me see here. I don't. Jacksonville. It's going to be too far out to get Jacksonville. Do I have space? I think I do. Give me a second. I'm going to try and add that radar. Give me a minute. Okay, so I've got cache that I can add another one. Let's see. Give me a second. That's going to be, give it a second. It's loading. What I'm doing is I've got the ability to add live radars. Eglin Air Force Base. And then I've got time for one more. Give me a second. And then I'll add the Tallahassee radar. That was Eglin. I'm going to add the Tallahassee radar. And we'll do 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. All right. So I should get that data in just a couple of minutes. Sorry, my apologies. So I'm adding Eglin and I'm adding Tallahassee just so I can try and look at these storms as they're coming through here. It's going to take it a couple of seconds to add the radar data, but we'll get it. All right. Sun already starting to peek through in Daytona. Is it? Ugh. All right. Yeah, tornado warning continues. Yeah, I mean, it's getting going there. How good is New Smyrna going to make out? I mean, we're all going to have storms that are going to move through. That's where we're at. Yeah, just while I'm waiting for the radars. All right, so I've got Eglin now. Or Tallahassee, who's going to be first? Somebody will. Give it a second. How will it be in Polk County? How will it be? Our entire area is just going to watch this nasty line of storms moving through. So my plan is to get into the office around 11 o'clock or so this morning. And once I get in around 11 o'clock, it's going to be getting ready for the noon show. And the plan for us at WESH is WESH 2 News at 4, 5, 5:30, 6, and perhaps 7. Tony Manolfi and I will be there tag teaming. We're going to be there tracking the storms with you. All right. Timeline while we're waiting for this radar to fill in. There's about your timeline. Okay. There's about the time. And, you know, plus or minus, depending on what, you know, forward motion goes. All right. What radio station is the best choice if all other access is out? So I don't know that Magic would, but Magic 107 is our sponsors, or not our sponsors, but our partners. I don't know that we'll get to that point where they cut off music, but we'll see. All right, let's switch from the Tampa radar. Yeah, see, we haven't, so I have to wait. So the way that it works is I've got Eglin and Tallahassee turned on, but I have to wait for the radar to complete what's called a volume scan. Once it does a full volume scan, it opens the pipe to new access. And it takes like 5 to 7 minutes for that. But there's obviously a tornado warned cell. Bay, Walton, Washington. Yeah. And it's just a matter of waiting for whoever's the first radar to come in. Yeah. So of course we're still waiting. Oh, got something. All right, now it's coming in. That's Eglin. There it goes. Oh, man. So that's nasty. So it's going to be, so that would be like a rain wrap tornado up here. Crossing 77. Give me a second to switch over to velocity. Of course, the velocity hasn't spun through, so we wait. Oh, there it goes. I just want to take a look at this real fast. That's a lot of wind. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. I don't have a clue if people live there, but That's obviously not ideal. And then correlation coefficient, which is our debris tracker. And I have no way to loop this, so I have no idea if it's, yeah. Either way, though, that's a nasty cell, y'all. So there you go. It's a nasty cell. All right. We really appreciate what you do. Thank you, Karen. I will also say, though, like, you know, if it's a situation where you lose connectivity, like your TV or something doesn't work, you know, we're going to be streaming online as is needed, you know, so we'll be available for you there. Do that, do that. Just pop up the velocity one more time out of Eglin. It's a lot of data, so it takes it like a minute to process. But yeah, there you go. There's the current tornado warned cell just north of Panama City Beach. Looks like they canceled that first warning. I mean, that's either way, even if it's not tornadoing, it's definitely rotating winds. So yeah. Isn't there on the time the new graphics from the SPC go out? Yeah, the new graphics from the SPC should go out. Oh yeah, it should. They have not put anything out yet. So yeah. Waiting for it. When they come out, I can promise you I will tweet it out though, you know? But I mean, look at that. Look at that, y'all. At the very least, there's a huge push of wind. All right. Questions about all of this before we let it go. There's the severe weather risk for today. Love all this knowledge. Thank you, Frank. And I feel like, you know, on days like today, I do feel like I'm just mumbling around because I'm like looking, and so I do apologize if this wasn't quote unquote good TV. But you know, we're just analyzing weather stuff together. All right. But as as this moves into our area this afternoon, the biggest concern, and I've got this up, by the way, it should live update if the Storm Prediction Center pushes out an update. So there's that. But you know, this afternoon it's going to get nasty, right? It's going to be a fairly short timeline for the activity, but it's going to be a fairly impactful short timeline. So just so that you know. All right. Watch the radar and always have a way to get warned. You know, shameless plug, and I'll just do this because why not? But turn on the Wesh 2 mobile app. It'll do push alerts. It'll let you know when the storm's approaching you, but it will also send push alerts when there are tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, watches, things like that. The things that you want. Look, I get it. You don't have to want to be warned all the time. You can turn the notifications back off, right? You can turn those notifications back off later if you want. But for a day like today, we learned in our coffee talk drive-through last year that most people do not use weather radios. I forget the number that National Weather Service meteorologist Tony Cristaldi shared with us, but it was something like 6% or 10. It was less than 10% if memory serves, which is a ridiculously low number. So given that fact, I stopped even like talking about weather radios. It's all about apps and things now. So, you know, to me, that's where we're at. I have notifications on in the app and I never get them. Kathy, that has happened to me too. I've had to delete the app and reinstall the app. All right. So that happens with all apps too. Yeah. I inherited 5 weather radios when my father died. He had one in a bedroom. Wow, Laura, that's something. He's tracking weather. Yep. My son lives in Pensacola, and he said the tornado touched down. That was earlier. What happened in Pensacola? Anything? There were several tornado touchdowns in the Panhandle, and frankly, it's as we were just looking at a few moments ago, it's still kind of an ongoing thing. You know, there's one tornado. So let's do this. Let's pop. That's Eglin. Give me a second. I'm going to just turn like we're going to go into severe weather tracking mode. So we've got this. Oh, look at that hook. You see off the shoreline of Panama City? All right, so let's do this. Let's switch over to velocity. Give me a few seconds. Velocity. Thinking. Oh. All right, well, that's a terrible color palette. I can fix that. There, that's our color table. Let's switch over to storm relative velocity to clean that up a little bit. Yeah, that's way better. Also, that's still, you know, that should give you an idea. There's another rotating cell off the shoreline and more where that came from. Yeah. This one's looking a little tighter, though. Yeah, so it's still ongoing up there, my friends. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, anything. Tammy's pointing out the WJHG live stream. Copy link address. Yeah, let me put that in here. That's actually one of my former interns is actually up there. Let's do WJHG.com. Are they doing a live stream? Watch live?
Absolutely does.
And, you know, we can deal with
none of these
property
people are
damage,
my
I think
former
some of the most
interns,
significant reports are
this
reports
is-
that
this
we
is
have
that
injuries
station.
from this.
Yes.
And that's what we never want to hear. We do not know the extent
And they're
of those
they're
injuries,
showing some
and they
of
can't
that.
confirm exactly the area
They're
where
showing some of the damage
those
up there.
injuries happened. I mean,
So, you know, this is the kind of stuff that has already happened. And Panama City area, we'll have to see how, you know, this impacts as it moves our direction. But WJHG.com is the website for this television station. And certainly there will be plenty of other opportunities to watch coverage later today. Hopefully nothing too damaging, but like, look at the, you know, just look at that. That was, you know, that's some significant damage up that way. Obviously that's not ideal. Yeah, that's our NBC affiliate, by the way, out of Panama City. All right. WJHG was my station when I lived in Lynn Haven. Yeah. Yeah, I would say internet access is definitely very important. You know, on weather days like this, like, look at that. Like, these are neighborhoods that got just shellacked. Let's listen in and hear what their meteorologist has to say.
The area here, Destin is past the worst of that squall line now, looking a little quieter, perhaps still in Inlet Beach, some heavy rains ongoing. Further out towards the east in St. Joe Beach, it's certainly a gusty and windy one still, with probably some rain and more on the way with a squall line feature. Up toward Mariana, it's a camera soaked. It's trees that are bending over here in the winds that come through here for us this morning. Got a sharp temperature grade as well. It might be feeling mild outside right now, but prepare yourself.
All right, so he's
for
just kind
later
of, you know,
here
he's
today
kind of
as
doing
temperatures will quickly
a normal weather forecast, but you know, there's still obviously big threats of severe weather that are moving his direction. So I'll continue to monitor his feed and see, you know, if they're talking about more tornadic activity. All right. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day, my friends. Let's stay weather aware today. Updates as is needed.